and welcome to the panel discussion sponsored by Radisys. And the title of this panel session is Moving Beyond Customer Experience, Hyper-Personalization. Now, I'm the moderator, so my name is Alan Quayle. I'm an independent analyst consultant in the programmable communications space. So I'm impartial through this. I'm just going to be asking a few questions. Now, with me today, the panelists are Adnan, who is the CTO, Software and Cloud Solutions at Radisys. We also have Kumar, who is the Product Management Director of Cloud Solutions at Radisys. And we have a special guest, Kartik, who is the Chief Business Officer at Haptic. So without further ado, you've listened to me enough now. I'm going to open with a question. We've said the word, but what do we mean by hyper-personalization?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Alan, for introducing the panelists here and the topic around hyper-personalization. I think hyper-personalization can mean probably a lot of different things to individuals, as well as new business models that are being created out of hyper-personalization. Typically due to the advent of 5G technology, more interactive, personalized experiences that users can have that are driven out of investments in AI, speech-based AI technology, as well as AR, VR technology, and multimedia interaction with kind of very low latency, high bandwidth applications that are currently available. So I think that's kind of my view in terms of how users' personal experiences can be made more unique and hence hyper-personalized. And I think we'll hopefully go through maybe a few real-world use cases around that.
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. Kartik, Kumar, do you have anything else to add around that definition?
What I would like to add is the textbook definition is basically using AI and data to make the entire experience a lot more relevant to the user. Now, Haptic comes from a conversational AI background, and conversations are probably the most personalized way of interacting, right? This the nature of conversations and messaging and chat makes for a great personalized experience. And as systems are getting smarter and leveraging data better, it's moving to a point where it's highly personalized and gives you an experience just the way you would have with someone if you're talking to a human.
Understood. So there's both the personalization element, but also the piece I got from Adnan is its real-time nature. So we're moving from just a static definition of Alan likes dogs to Alan's just talked about red setters. Let's basically sort of link to this in terms of it being instantly relevant to the conversation. So moving on then, and this is actually picking up on something that you said, Kartik, is this concept of conversational AI, conversational intelligence. Again, just for the audience, what do we mean by that? And this, of course, is open to all panelists.
Sure. So we all have experienced chatbots, those messaging windows which pop up on websites, and there are machines trying to have conversations with you. Simply put, conversational AI is basically AI algorithms or machines mimicking human conversations on a certain set of queries for which they have been trained on. Most businesses are using it very effectively to provide product recommendations as well as offering customer support. And that is why that's what conversational AI is all about.
Understood. Excellent. So we've covered the definition. So we've got a good, clear definition around hyper-personalization in terms of it being sort of the next level and real time. And we understand that conversational intelligence, conversational AI is a fundamental enabler behind that. So let's get real now. So we've discovered sort of the definitions. Let's talk about some use cases. So I'm wondering, sort of Kumar, if you could provide some case studies of use cases around hyper-personalization.
Absolutely. So with the change and advance in the technology, right, the core of hyper-personalization, as both Adnan and Kartik have been proposing, is that the user, when it interacts with the technology, it almost feels like that this whole context is for them, for that particular individual. So this is less of a, so for example, previously a user might be expected to speak or interact or even input the questions or responses in a very, very specific manner. Now, actually, the user can be themselves, can ask the same questions as if they're talking to a real human being who knows about their need. There are several use cases, but to bring one up, let's say that it is a healthcare, and with the recent pandemic that we are in, you might be concerned about, okay, that I've been into some place or I've been traveling or something like that. Am I exposed to COVID? Is it a good time for me to go and maybe get myself checked? But before you do, because there's a risk in even stepping out for that, you may want to maybe pre-screen yourself. And this is where such hyper-personalized technology can come in, where you could interact with the bot at the back in such a way that is very, very close to your individual needs. Where did you step out, or did you interact with somebody, or did you meet with like 4 of your own family members, as opposed to going through some static checklist. And then the bot can walk through the whole list and the questionnaire and actually recommend that, yeah, you may have some chance of exposure, so you get yourself checked, or maybe not. And by the way, since we are talking, do you happen to take the flu shot, right? And if you didn't take the flu shot, then maybe it's time to take the flu shot. So that is an example of hyper-personalized interaction using the latest conversational bot and the data that goes behind it.
Thanks, Kumar. So I think, yeah, there's, as you mentioned, there's a number, a very broad set of use cases that can be applied with hyper-personalization to provide the type of user experience that typically wasn't available, and the advances of technology is making that happen now. So part of that is knowing the user. So every user, it's their unique situation, their unique likes and dislikes, what they have, tying it into maybe a medical system or their health records when it makes sense, or from a retail or business perspective. So knowing the users is important to make it that interactive, to make it that unique to the user. But of course, other aspects, as you mentioned, that the information is changing all the time, and you can't be pre-programming like a typical interaction that we're used to with kind of the quote unquote traditional bot technology. So the interaction has to be live, because the information that's available to help a user, whether it's healthcare or maybe a training scenario, would say, well, this is a situation that you mentioned. Let me show you a 1-minute video that might explain this better. So that type of interaction, plus the user's own personal likes and dislikes and background, when tied into that, along with the real-time programmability of it, what I think collectively then provides that hyper-personalized experience.
Understood. Kartik, do you have any examples?
Yeah, so I think one of the things we are doing at Haptic is taking hyper-personalization into conversational commerce, basically using conversational AI and chatbots as an effective way to enable transactions, especially in the e-commerce domain. Just think of how you would shop in an actual offline retail scenario. You walk into the store, the salesperson knows a lot about you if you're a repeat customer, and then his recommendations are based on your likes and dislikes. We are replicating that behavior to enable commerce, where, let's say, if I log in and I'm on, let's say, a sports shoes website, the bot knows this is Kartik, UK 9 or US 10 size is what he wears. He prefers sneakers, and the recommendations that are shown to me start from there, saying, "Hi Kartik, here are the latest set of shoes that's in the store." So yeah, we are building those kind of use cases.
Interesting. Now, one of the other aspects that you've mentioned is natural language, both natural language, of course, in text, but natural language in speech as well. So this isn't just conversations where it's a bot and there's just a text. It could be inserted in other interactions that we could be having with other real people that can have this hyper personalization wrapped around it. I'm just interested in sort of other case studies that people have looked at where these bots aren't the direct thing I'm interacting with, rather they're sort of complementary to other experiences that are taking place as a customer.
Yeah, so Alan, so I think, so absolutely, I mean, we're all kind of used to, I think as Karthik was mentioning, you go to a particular website, you'll have a little chat window that pops up and you can have an interaction with it. But that interaction is somewhat limited if the service does not know you. And exactly as Karthik mentioned, if you've already logged into the site, they know who you are because you've logged into your own account. So there's information about you. And now the conversation can be directed and kind of hyper-personalized. But then moving beyond not everybody is going to be as comfortable and easy to have that text interaction to make it completely a speech-based natural language conversational interface. Then I think what I was mentioning at the start of the session, that kind of one level beyond that is a full multimedia interaction. So that and it doesn't necessarily apply to every single situation, but it does apply to many situations. And I think an interesting use case that we actually implemented as part of TM Forum was an interaction with a user remotely participating in a sporting event, for instance. So they log in, either they're using a VR headset or they're watching it through their phone or laptop. They're participating in a remote live sporting event, and now they have a conversational plus a multimedia interaction while that live event is occurring. So that was a joint end-to-end implementation that was done between Radisys, Orange, Microsoft, Netcracker, Comviva, and a couple of other operators, and it was demonstrated as part of the TM Forum Catalyst demo. I think it's an interesting 3-minute video that will actually shed more light in terms of what is really possible with full multimedia, real-time, low latency, hyper-personalization interactions.
Megan has put on her headset and is logged in to view the event. One thing that she can do to improve her viewer experience is to invite her friends. She'll check to see who is online.
Hey, Orange, how many friends do I have online?
Her friends who have opted into the game experience will have access to this unique functionality to earn achievements and perks themselves by participating in the event. For example, if they accept Megan's invitation, they will in turn complete an achievement and earn a €5 voucher from a partner. Megan will go ahead and invite everyone who's online.
Hey, Orange, invite all my friends.
The invites were sent out, and Megan just earned a few points that will increase her customer level, and can also be cashed in for rewards. Not all events, however, will be triggered by customer actions. Events can be captured externally as well, in real time to facilitate interaction with Megan. In this case, a Hado player performs a clutch knockout on an opponent, generating an external event that will trigger a promotion from Orange.
Hey, Orange, show me the promotion.
Orange already knows a bit about Megan at this stage, based off of the prior interactions with various applications, and understands what she likes or doesn't like. As a result, Orange presents a tailored promotion based on the highest chance of facilitating a positive interaction with the customer, as well as a successful purchase. Megan prefers to have the option of using her gamified points for unlocking discounts for each purchase, so that option is presented to her automatically.
Hey, Orange, unlock my discount.
The discount is unlocked, and Megan can now apply a 10% discount to her order. If she chooses not to use the discount, the points will be attributed back to her profile. She is happy with this result and decides to continue with the purchase.
Hey, Orange, apply the discount. Hey, Orange, place the order.
Since she decided to place the order, there's only one more step: to confirm the payment method.
Hey, Orange, use my default card and place order.
The order is placed, and Megan will continue to cheer her team on to victory. When her team wins, Megan earns additional points, an exclusive reward for participating in the event and supporting her favorite team. Now, at this point, you've seen how gamification can broaden customer appeal by facilitating dynamic achievements and events tailored to customer interests, as well as simplify the relationship between partners, both big and small. We will now explore how we accomplish this user experience in more depth, discuss the roles of each Catalyst participant, and how we leverage the TM Forum open standards to seamlessly work together to gamify our end user experience.
So that video, I think, is excellent. It really does show the rich multimedia capabilities where you see the hyper personalized pop-ups happening in real time, the points, the game taking place in the background. So I think that presents a very interesting vision for where this can go. I'm just open to all panelists, Kumar, Kartik. Are there any other case studies that you find are really interesting in this space?
Sure. So as both Adnan and Kartik pointed out, the e-commerce and is really where the more you know about the customer, the more individualistic experience you can give to that particular individual. Previously I spoke about just a little bit in the pandemic situation, but I think the technology is really going to make it possible to make a more impact into, say, in the healthcare in the coming days, where the remote healthcare, in my mind, is going to become more of a reality. That that perhaps it was forced upon because of the recent pandemic situations, because all of a sudden the patients couldn't visit the doctors and so forth and whatnot. So what happens in those cases, right? So as these technologies which have been in and around the e-commerce world for quite some time, can now perhaps extend themselves into the healthcare sector, education sector. I think Anand, you were talking about, and so forth. So by the way of an example, let's talk about say in the healthcare that. Where the remote visits could be actually when the interaction happens, there is a service in between which kind of keeps, which have the data about the previous interactions. And as the conversation goes on, maybe there's some facts are picked up and are correlated to the previous conversations, and they are superimposed to kind of alert the doctor and the nurses at the other end to pay attention, or maybe even prompt to ask some questions.
Yep.
Similarly, if you go into the education sector, particularly if you go to K to 12 education, where the tutoring is actually a pretty significant part of the education, and in some part of the world, the having a personalized technology can actually improve the whole education in such a fashion that residents who have at a different level, who progress at a different level, who learn differently, can actually move along in the classroom with, say, more effectiveness than what is possible today. So there are quite a few such, first steps are already being taken in that particular direction. For example, if you go to CES 2021, as we speak, you will see a number of healthcare related initiatives where the monitoring devices are now communicating over to the doctors and nurses over the internet, and now the technologies that we along with others are working can make it even more and more effective as we go forward.
Yep, no, that's clear. Thank you, Kumar. Anand, Kartik, any other use cases to mention before we wrap up?
Maybe just one other aspect, I think, like how to go to that. Obviously, from that hyper personalization, it's about increasing and providing the end users or consumers a much better experience than is what's been available up until now. And of course, as part of that is also opens up new monetization opportunities as well for a number of operators, where that information is not available, then at the time when an interaction is happening, where let's say in a consumer case, I have a problem, let's say with my service provider, I call them about a bandwidth issue. They try to help me diagnose and technical support that. Knowing me as a customer, they say, hey, we also have a new iPhone, Android phone upgrade. That's good. Would you be interested in that? There's the opportunity now to have that. But that's something about knowing something about the user, the commerce is interacting with the user, and having that interaction with them then also opens up monetization opportunities where somebody's able to make a decision right there and then without having to kind of wait in long queues as we kind of used to with in contact center kind of scenarios.
Understood. Oh, that's very interesting. Now, in your introduction, you mentioned a key word, Adnan, which was programmability. Now, these insights, these tools, these platforms, there's a lot of different repositories. There's a lot of different insights that could be generated across omni-channel, across multiple channels. So I'm interested in, how are we going to manage this complexity that we see emerging around hyper-personalization? So this now is looking to the future. Where's this all going?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe I'll just give a brief update and then let Kumar and Kartik jump in as well. But I think that there was as we were discussing, that the hyper personalization can truly only be achieved if you have a dynamic enough system. The dynamicness will come through open APIs that allow the service creation and deployment and real-time updates and interaction of that to be dynamic in nature. Otherwise, we'll be back into very pre-programmed set question answer type of interaction. So this is hyper personalized. So it has to be it needs to be supported through a set of open APIs that allow the delivery of that content in the interaction with the user, whether as Kartik was mentioning, from a speech AI perspective or from a video or a media interaction perspective with the user, as well as I think we talked about knowing something about the user and being able to have access to dip into what offers are available, what additional information that's available can be pulled up in real time, and that kind of all comes through the ability to provide a completely programmable a solution that can be created through a completely programmable set of APIs and interfaces. I'll let Kumar and Kartik jump in there as well.
Absolutely. So when we talk about all these use cases, which are very fascinating and frankly speaking, very diverse. They do a lot of different things. But if you look inside, underneath that, there are a few key core technologies that are used in and different combinations, different logo pieces, if I can put that way. So what is needed here is a programmable capability, the platform where the different businesses or developers can come in and actually put them together, right? So the key to mainstream or to success of these ideas and these applications, what lies the programmable communication at the heart, and which means that access to voice, video, messaging, SMS as part of the programmable API, and these are being offered generally as part of a platform that a programmer or a developer can use it just along with the business logic. So, for example, the TM Forum example that we just saw a few minutes ago, if you look into this, the key there is ability to just monitor the the interaction going on, and based on certain events, certain pattern, ability to take action and perhaps put in an offer or put in a new information in front of the user. And that is only possible if we have a platform that allows you to easily program such logic as part of the communications, right? So that is where the whole programmability comes into the picture. The platform, on the other hand, also needs to be capable of providing such interaction in terms of such as the new form of encoding, the low latency encoding, very high throughput, because the data crunching and the latency kind of comes into picture. So as we move in that direction, the programmable APIs will be key to achieving applications and use cases that are actually useful and make difference to users' life.
Understood, Kumar. Kartik?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the key. The platforms are able to consume the data that clients can provide. Clients obviously have to work in a way where they can expose this all of this interesting and rich data in a fast, scalable, real-time manner. And that's when the magic really happens. One thing to keep note is a lot of these platforms have pre-built integrations to the most common CRM systems. So that is one consideration you could also think about as you start building these experiences.
No, that's absolutely clear. So to the panelists, any closing comments before we wrap this all up?
No, I think that was good. Thanks, Alan, and the panelists. I think interesting discussion, and I think we're looking forward to a lot of, and as we're starting to go through those now real world deployable use cases that allow that enriched hyper personalized user experience, as well as at the same time provides additional monetization opportunities when it makes sense.
Excellent. So again, thank you to our panelists for an excellent discussion. And also, of course, thank you to Radisys for sponsoring this panel's discussion around moving beyond customer experience into hyper-personalization. That is real-time personalization with deep insights generated from the multiple channels that we have conversations over. So again, thank you so much. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.